the Live Nation story news has been, it's fucking absurd, as so much news that we cover is. But if I'll talk about this a little bit, and then if I don't finish it, we can talk about it more tomorrow. But these absolute bastards, they are saying what we know. Like, there's nothing that they said in these private exchanges that were revealed in court documents, because if you're not aware, Live Nation, well, no longer, because Trump stepped in to essentially force a settlement, and neither the judge nor the jury nor the lawyers nor anyone who's been working on this case for years was aware of. So Live Nation settled, and it was news to all the people who were working on this lawsuit. But anyway, Live Nation was sued in it is a major antitrust case because of their monopoly status, and because of using that monopoly status to further drive out competition, to price gouge, to do all the things that these monopolies do. And in some of the private exchanges between Live Nation employees that were revealed in the court documents during the past week, where Live Nation was in court, but now they will no longer be in court because of this fuck-ass settlement, there were employees joking about gouging fans with fees and parking costs at concerts, further adding that the concert goers are so stupid and that Live Nation is robbing them blind, baby, according to private messages released as part of this antitrust suit. Which I just can't. I obviously we know that this is how they feel, but having them brag so smugly and so with such audaciousness, these people should go to the gulag. These messages were sent in 2022 between Live Nation employees Ben Baker and Jeff Weinhold, and were shared Wednesday as exhibits in the government's case against the live music giant after Live Nation had argued the documents weren't relevant to the case. Of course they were like, no, this has nothing to do with this monopoly lawsuit. Having Live Nation employees brag about how Live Nation is robbing consumers blind and are gouging fans with these ridiculous fees, where they're like, oh yeah, we can just charge $300 for a parking spot. And these fucking idiots will pay it because they have to. The plaintiff states, however, argued that it reflects Live Nation's monopoly power, as artists don't want to gouge their fans, but Live Nation is able to degrade the fan experience by charging excessive prices for ancillary services without fear of artists switching away. In a statement, Live Nation said the Slack exchange from one junior staffer to a friend absolutely doesn't reflect our values or how we operate. They're like, yeah, the price gouging they were talking about, that's weak sauce. Okay. That is not even the extent of how we operate as a monopoly. That definitely shouldn't be broken up. Because this was a private Slack message, leadership learned of this when the public did and will be looking into the matter promptly. The representative said, our business only works when fans have great experiences, which is why we've capped amphitheater venues fees at 15% and have invested $1 billion in the last 18 months into U.S. venues and fan amenities. Okay, so
hey,
again, this was a major antitrust lawsuit that has finally gone to court this week, but oh, never mind. Trump stepped in and this settlement took place without the judge, jury, lawyers, anyone who's worked on this case being aware of it. They didn't even know. They didn't fucking find out until they were back in court. And we're like, hold on a second. What do you mean this case is over?
Remember when Ticketmaster crashed during the Taylor Swift Eras Tour presale and 14 million people lost their minds? That was 2022. It was so bad that the Department of Justice opened an antitrust investigation, built a case, got 40 states to join, and took Live Nation to trial. The trial started last week. It was going great. And then the Trump administration killed it, behind closed doors, without telling the judge, the jury, or their own lead prosecutor. Here's what happened. The Biden administration filed a massive antitrust case against Live Nation, the company that owns Ticketmaster and controls roughly 78% of the concert venue market. 40 states joined. The trial started last week in New York, and it was going fantastic. Witnesses testified.
This is one of the guys, by the way. Oh, I bet he's the best. Oh, robbing them blind, baby. What the fuck is that haircut? Someone said he looks like a baby with a beard. I'm telling you, you will never be able to come up with an insult better than some random person in the comments. He looks like a baby with a beard. Are people not embarrassed anymore? For fuck's sake. No, we need to bring back shame.
Testified that when one arena switched from Ticketmaster to a competitor, Live Nation pulled the concerts and the CEO lost his job.
Like, here's what's so pathetic. This guy felt like he's the one getting that money. Like, that's a sense of power for him. Saying robbing them blind, baby. You're not the CEO. You're not a billionaire. You're not a billionaire who profits from these monopolies. What are you talking about? Robbing them blind, baby. Just because you work for a company that is doing that is levels of being a loser that gets into the subterranean. Okay, we're so low. We're reaching Mariana Trench depths of patheticism, of loser behavior. It is embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. You're not embarrassed enough, which is, you haven't been humiliated enough in your life, which is why you say stuff like this. He 100% brags about his contribution or assist in robbing on his performance review self-input. Yeah, and then I love that Live Nation, when this was brought up in the court case, went, these are just junior employees. Like, they're throwing you under the bus because, of course, they have to. Of course, they have to be like, that's not representative of how Live Nation operates. But it's just like, oh my God, your own company pointing out the fact that you're junior employees, that you're not even senior level executives. You're not benefiting from that. He looks like his best friend growing up was the family mate. He's like, yeah, when you make me my bedtime snack, my midnight treat, it's because you like me. It's because you think I'm cool.
Another
you spend
executive
time with me, not because you're being paid. Definition of like kids having or parents having to pay. Parents paying.
said he never had the courage to leave because Live Nation would destroy his business. A competitor had to write something called retaliation insurance into his contracts to protect venues from Live Nation's revenge. This isn't a company. This is a protection racket with a ticketing app. Then behind closed doors, the Trump administration settled the case. The DOJ's lead prosecutor told the judge, quote, "I only saw the term sheet when you did, Your Honor. The man running the trial didn't know his own department had cut a deal." The judge called it, quote, "absolute disrespect for the court, the jury, and the entire process." And who brokered the—
Imagine you are working on this case for a couple years at this point, and you're in the middle of the trial, and it is going well. Live Nation is on their back foot. But then, for almost a decade, to be fair, yes, to be fair, but I think it was first filed, it was 2024 was when the suit was first filed. But yeah, Live Nation. When was the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger? That was 2010. So Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged, created Live Nation Entertainment. And since 2010, there's been movement here and there to try and challenge this. And finally, 2004 was when the lawsuit was filed. The DOJ and 30 state and district attorneys filed a suit saying it violated antitrust. And then this week, finally went to court, and things are going well for the Department of Justice. And then find out, oh, Live Nation is settled. Oh. But they are not breaking up.
This deal? A MAGA lobbyist named Mike Davis, who Live Nation hired for $1 million. His business partner was pardoned by Trump last year. And Live Nation, they donated $500,000 to Trump's inauguration. Their board chairman gave over $100,000 to Trump and Republican causes. The settlement amounts to about 3 days of the company's revenue. Live Nation's stock went up 5% on the news. 27 state attorneys general have refused to join the settlement and are trying to continue the case on their own. The judge told the jury to go home for a week while they figure out if that's even possible. Meanwhile, Live Nation is already arguing the settlement proves they did nothing wrong. So a monopoly that retaliates against anyone who challenges it, that charges you more in fees than the ticket itself costs, just bought its way out of a federal trial with a $500,000 inauguration check and $1 million lobbyist. That is your Justice Department, and it's for sale.
Oh, boy. I hate it here. So the judge is Judge Subramaniam, who I recognize. I recognize Judge Subramaniam because, yes, this is the judge who presided over Sean Combs' trial. So this is the judge in Diddy's case. Demanded to know why Live Nation hadn't told him about the deal during a private meeting Friday evening. Wondered, do you and Will stream from different rooms? No, he's right here. Will? You don't hear him? He's right there. He's just out of camera. Yes, we do. We do stream from different rooms stuck in the labyrinth. We do. Just finished watching the first 4 episodes of HBO's Neighbors. Y'all must see it. You think I haven't been all over that show? You think I didn't tell people to watch that show? I haven't watched the latest episode, though, because I was out of town. They have us set up like they're playing Battleship. What show? Neighbors. HBO. 3rd episode is actually the craziest shit I've ever seen. I was like, oh, all 4 of these people might kill each other. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Attorneys for 27 of the 40 states that had joined the case offered to continue prosecuting it in lieu of the DOJ lawyers. Judge Subramaniam told the jury to go home and report back in a week, which may not be enough time for the remaining states to assemble a full team of litigators and pursue a case where Live Nation's main argument would be that the experts at DOJ already settled it. But how exactly did the DOJ propose to transfer the agency's work product, expert witnesses, and years of accumulated expertise on the topic to a completely different group of attorneys? The judge asked the government's lead trial attorney, David Dahlquist. According to a surreal live stream posted on X, wait a sec. What is this? Surreal live stream posted on X by the one-man Manhattan legal news outlet Inner City Press. This guy. He's a one-man news outlet, and I guess he was live tweeting what was happening. Okay, now in Live Nation courtroom, DOJ's Dahlquist says we have submitted documents to the court. Other DOJ, we are settling. Want a continuance. Judge, does this term sheet have all the terms? DOJ's Klein, yeah. Then the Tunney Act process, cited in intercity press motion this morning. Judge, when was this signed? DOJ, March 5th. Judge Sub-Romanian, I was not told. Mr. Rapino must be here at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow to explain. DC's lawyer, you may refer to us as the preceding states. Texas has authorized me to inform you they have concerns about the DOJ term sheet. We can move today for a mistrial and a stay. Judge, you rejected my idea of staying the state claims. Then no bifurcation. You knew you might have to proceed without DOJ. This happens all the time. Judge, if there was a signed term sheet on March 5th, we should never have it ended March 6th in the middle of a direct examination. DC, in our submission to you over the weekend, no, none of this was docketed on PACER despite intercity press's motion and judge's orders on them. Judge, General Bonta said he's prepared to continue litigating. Bonta is California's AG. Now what? 2D state's lawyer. We were relying on DOJ's greater resources. Since January 29th, we've been preparing. We just signed an outside counsel. Judge, why do you need that? Judge, I was only told of these talks after jury selection. This is outrageous. A Live Nation lawyer's phone goes off. Judge, turn that off. Lawyer grabs briefcase and runs for the door. Sad ringtone still on. Live Nation's Marriott. Let's adjourn to Monday to try to keep the same jury. This is a mess. DC's Gitlin, we need more time to replicate the 40 lawyers that DOJ has had on this case. Judge, you could have started assembling the team earlier. Judge, Mr. Dahlquist, how could the experts and work product be transferred? DOJ Dahlquist, I only saw the term sheet when you did. Judge, you are lead trial counsel and you were only told when I asked this morning. Dahlquist, correct. Live Nation lawyer. Mr. Rapino signed on March 5th, but we wanted to socialize it with the states. Judge, we will take a break. Whew, vlog and story coming. The sad ringtone still on. This explained the lingering mystery of why, if it had already been decided to settle the case, the DOJ had bothered filing a 20-page brief this morning opposing Live Nation's motion to exclude a raft of incriminating Slack messages in which a top executive calls fans redacted, explains that he redacted them, and brags that Live Nation is redacted phrase. Okay, I'm going to guess these messages in which a top executive said, calls fans, probably Arsler. That feels like something a Live Nation executive would say about the fans that they are charging, exorbitant prices and fucking them over. Explains that he redacted them. I'm going to say fucked. He fucked them and brags that Live Nation is redacted for it. Live Nation is fucking consumers in the ass. Probably some other slurs in there. Definitely slurs. It's a Mad Libs, yeah. Thickening the plot, though, was an affidavit filed by New York office of the Attorney General Antitrust Bureau Chief Eleanor Hoffman, revealing that the DOJ had circulated the term sheet to her and state attorneys general last Thursday and requested an answer about whether or not they intended to join the settlement by close of business Friday. Perhaps the holdout state simply didn't want to kill Dahlquist 5. Whatever the drama, the fact is that the outcome was preordained the day that Live Nation signed $1 million MAGA influencer Mike Davis to lobby for them. He clearly stage managed the deal and bulldozed anyone in his way, including the now departed former head of the Federal Antitrust Division, Gail Slater. So basically, they already knew. They already knew what was going to happen here. And the judge was one of the last people to find out. And I think that's why the judge is clearly and rightfully pissed as hell. Under Trump 2.0, competition policy has devolved into a pay-to-play scheme, and the real decisions are being made over cocktails in Pam Bondi's office, not in such low-class environments as a courtroom with evidence. But those details matter, at least to those of us who have to deal with these unaccountable giants. A friend who worked at Live Nation sent him a text. Wait. Oh, sorry. The trial's first week looked like a spectacular success story for the beleaguered Justice Department, which has lost 2,000 attorneys and paralegals over the past year. To be fair, it's not hard to prove that Live Nation is a monopoly because the government's first witness, John Abamondi, told the story of what happened when, as the CEO of the Brooklyn Nets in 2021, he switched the ticketing vendor of the team's Park Slope Stadium to SeatGeek from Live Nation's Ticketmaster. First, a friend who worked at Live Nation sent him a text message cautioning him to consider the potential repercussions. Wink emoji. Oh my God! Then Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino called to say he had no choice but to pull concerts from the venue. Then a Billie Eilish concert that had been postponed during the pandemic was rescheduled at a stadium on Long Island instead of Brooklyn. Then he lost his job. These motherfuckers they're doing what monopolies are designed to do. So it's all corrupt, obviously. It's all fucked. But the fact that this guy was sent a message from a friend who worked at Live Nation saying, hey, careful what you decide here, wink. AKA, if you don't give Live Nation what they want, they're going to fuck you up the ass. Another stadium CEO testified next about how he'd never been able to summon the courage to drop Ticketmaster for a competitor because Live Nation's executives had not been subtle about threatening to destroy his business if he did. This is how these monopolies work. They have so much power and they are able to bully these other companies and are like, yeah, if you try and go elsewhere, you can't. We will drop you. And you rely so much on us for business. And you know that. We all know what's going on here. That guy, Mitch Helgerson of the Minnesota Wild, knew he couldn't afford to gamble. The $1 billion Barclays Center, serviced by a dozen subway lines and the Long Island Railroad, might be the most successful stadium on earth, not named Madison Square Garden. The Minnesota Wild Grand Casino Arena had to compete with the more convenient Target Center to serve a far more limited population of fans. Losing Live Nation's concert lineup, he said, would be almost catastrophic. So he stayed. Then on Friday, after Live Nation had secretly settled its case, the jury heard from the guy masochistic enough to try to go up against this Goliath, SeatGeek CEO and co-founder John Gretzinger. To close his first big Ticketmaster conversion with the Dallas Cowboys, Gretzinger had to write into SeatGeek's contract with the team a whole retaliation insurance section promising the team payouts in the event that Live Nation pulled a major concert from the stadium. SeatGeek couldn't afford to write such a policy for Barclays Center, so instead he gave the arena a major equity stake in SeatGeek's business, which enabled him to close that deal and sign up a few more teams. But once Live Nation's campaign of retaliation began and spooked other venues, he was cooked. Live Nation's cross-examination of Gretzinger, which consisted largely of attempting to paint the ticketing entrepreneur as a jealous hater, oh my God, was so half-hearted and pathetic it probably should have alerted observers that the fix was in. At one point, Live Nation attorney David Marriott presented Gretzinger with a message that he'd sent an investor the day the Biden administration first filed its antitrust complaint against the live events monopoly, containing a link to a story about how Live Nation stock was down 7% and smoking gun alert, a smiley emoji. You see this lawsuit as a potential benefit to your business, he challenged, according to an account in Courthouse News. Absolutely. Dude, all the fucking like winkies and smiley faces and you're just a jealous hater. It's so junior high. It's so 12. It's so are we 12? But we're talking about some of the biggest monopolies out there. Like this is the music and ticketing industry. Live Nation. Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Classic, everyone is 12. Everyone is 12 now. Everyone is 12. They don't make white collar criminals like they used to. They basically got away with paying a cheap parking ticket. Yep. Ticket prices will continue to increase and independent promoters will become extinct. This will be an extinction level event for independent promoters. It shows how powerful Live Nation is that the mafia couldn't get a love tap on the wrists like this. Sub Romanian still needs to approve the settlement, and as of today, he appeared to be scrambling for a way to fix the case. That's the judge. The Trump administration just imploded alongside the 27 state attorneys general who have refused to join the settlement. Good. This is a story about the DOJ during the Trump administration, a story of deep corruption where no staff attorney, no staff economist, no witness, and no juror can tell what is going to happen because it's all decided in some smoke-filled back room. Yeah, it's at fucking Mar-a-Lago. It's not a smoke-filled back room. It's a gaudily designed space at Mar-a-Lago. More Perfect Union is a really good video on Ticketmaster. We have definitely watched that before. I think we've watched it twice. Yeah, More Perfect Union. This is the kind of stuff that they're really good at covering. So they've been all over this. They've been all over UFC, which I did pull that video. Might watch it tomorrow. We investigated the shady business behind the UFC. UFC, who I saw this headline today about Kash Patel. About UFC fighters are going to train the FBI. Again, is everyone and everything 12? Is that just every headline we read now? Every piece of news? It's like, oh, okay. Everything is so fucking stupid.